Hello and welcome to Conversation Bytes, your tech leadership podcast. And today we speak with the boss of Oppo in Australia, and he joins me now from their headquarters, Michael Tran. Welcome to Conversation Bytes.
Hey, Joe.
But let's start off with your story. Michael, you're working at Oppo, one of the world's biggest mobile phone companies, and I want to know where it all began with you.
Yeah. Oh, it's a really funny story. I was working in China a few years back, and I remember being in the train station and seeing an advert of Leonardo DiCaprio on a billboard. And it was really strange just to see him promote this brand called Oppo. I didn't know anything about it. And I went back home and did a little bit of a Google search, and then I found out that Oppo is a mobile brand in China, and I was just so intrigued by it, interested in it, that there was a job opening in the marketing team. I applied for it, and here I am today.
Well, it's been a great rise for you, but the Oppo story is an interesting one. Mobile phone brand out of China. Obviously, we know that in recent years there's been a lot of innovation coming out of there, but Oppo to make an impact around the world, it's a tough business, isn't it? So what's been the Oppo strategy?
I think for the start of the business, it was always just to look at providing products to customers that would really resonate with them. And one of the things that we did was really concentrate on making sure that our products had the best features on the devices and that it would resonate with consumers. Further to that, it was looking at price points as well. At the moment in Australia, when we brought in our products, it was that value proposition. And now today, we're looking at moving into that premium space. So having a variety of products for all consumers.
And the other thing about spreading yourself around the world is how do you set yourself up? So stores and things like that. How have you managed to do that in Australia? Because, in
Australia, it's been, when we first entered the market over 5 years ago, it was very surreal for myself. Just not coming from the industry from Australia. Like I said, I worked in China and worked in the marketing team over there, then came back to Australia to set up the business. And it was a learning curve for myself, not being from this industry or knowing the Australian landscape. We had to really work with our retail partners and look at how could we promote the brand in channel while competing against with the big guys.
Is it more of a marketing background? Did you have the technical background as well?
I would say that I was very marketing focused when I joined Oppo. So I worked in the international team at Oppo in China. And when I came back to Australia, I was the marketing director. And then during that time, I learned all about that technical stuff over the last few years, from the testing side to 5G to understanding what the chipset could do. And it's just been a journey. And it's one of those things that I continue to invest my time into learning about technology.
So Michael, given your marketing background, how do you handle the leadership issue with, say, engineers who, you've sort of got to earn their respect, don't you? And I think the worst thing for someone in marketing is to come across and not earn that respect, isn't it? So was that difficult for you, or did you find that pretty easy to get on with the engineers?
I would say that at the start it was very difficult, not coming from a technical background and having to work with them. It took a lot of time and patience. And one of the things I would say is that I have such an amazing team of engineers, and their patience with me is unbelievable. So it was just a learning session, being able to ask them very simple questions that I felt that were very complicated for myself, and they were able to explain to me what the issues were or what something meant, and take me through this journey of what they did. And over a period of time, I've learned a lot about the technical side of things. And I believe, or I would say that when we rolled out our 5G device last year, it was, if not one of the most testing times for my engineers and myself.
That's really good to hear that you're quite frank about that, because you need to build that sort of trust between people in the business, don't you? And do you think you have that at Oppo?
Yeah, I think trust is everything, and my staff are everything to me. Oppo would not be where it is today if it wasn't for my team. When we started out the business 5 years ago, there were only 4 of us in this business, and now we are a team of 80 and continuing to grow. But everyone that's come on board has really had an impact on me personally and my personal growth as a leader. Understanding how to listen is such a skill that I've picked up over the last few years, and communicating to all the teams and working with them has been such an amazing experience.
And of course, it's obviously paid off because of your advancement through Oppo. One minute you're running Australia, and then you're doing the global presentation for Mobile World Congress, which didn't happen this year. We'll go back to that in a couple of minutes, but it's been exciting. How exciting was it to front a global launch for what would have been everyone going to Spain for Mobile World Congress with your phone rollout this year?
Yeah, it was so surreal. I remember when I was approached by the global team to really present our Finex series again. So previously, when we launched the Finex in Paris, I was asked to give the speech, and then this year I was asked to do it again. But it's such a surreal opportunity to be on that global stage and have the trust of the company as well. I think it comes back to the people and the support that I have. And we're always looking at, promoting from within and really believing in the people we hire.
So you have a global title now. What does that mean? And we've still got you in Australia, thankfully. But what does that mean?
It means for me that I continue to grow. I believe that the most important thing about my career at the moment is my growth and being able to really continue to grow in Oppo from a local level in Australia and also international level. I'm exposed to everything that we're doing globally, having a really big impact on the Western European market as well, as we've only entered the European market over 2 years ago, and we're growing tremendously over there. And seeing my ideas or being involved in the planning and seeing things come to life is just so amazing.
It's been a great journey. Michael, where did it all begin for you? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Sydney, in the western suburbs of Cabramatta.
Nice.
It was. I grew up there, and looking at my parents, they were immigrants to Australia and fled a war in Vietnam, and they had me in Australia, and I would say I am 100% Australian, and my career path has just been an interesting one. I've always been very ambitious, which is what I would say, and what my team would say about me as well. Always thinking ahead, trying to be the best that I can be, and always continuing to learn. I think for myself, if I stop learning, then that's when I get bored. Having such an amazing support team around me, from my team, my family at home, my friends, and even just everyone that I get in touch with.
Michael, what about relationships with external parties? Let's say we'll talk about the public, of course, consumers, and the media. Let's talk about relationships with the media. And I think one of the great things about your style, and when I've come from a sporting background, is that we really appreciate people who are honest. We can smell the hyped rubbish, which is just marketing hype with no backup from the quality of the product. We can smell that a mile away. What I like about you is you're very honest, and I've been away to China with you to see the factory in the making. I've found, and I can vouch for this, that I've found that you're very honest away from the microphones as well. How important is it for you to firstly be honest with the media, and secondly, not overhype a product if it doesn't deliver?
Yeah, I think it's so important. The one thing about Oppo is about doing the right thing. And I stayed at this company for such a long period of time because I truly believe in the company and the business. And I'm never ever told what to say to the media. I'm always, to take my own spin on things. But the personal approach is everything for me. And I want to be as honest and transparent as I can be. The success of Oppo in Australia is credited to the media, my retail partners, to the consumers as well, and trusting our device and our products. But my approach isn't textbook, if I would say, and I don't like that cookie cutter approach where I'm just giving you a standard response and reeling the same things again and again. It needs to be personal. I want to know about you and what you're interested in so that I can best put Oppo in the best light in your eyes.
So home base in China is happy for you to give you a bit of a lead to do what you want to do.
Yeah, for sure. I'm always able to do what I need to do that I think is right, as long as it's in the values of the business. Even when we were writing the Finex 2 speech, if you look at my speech and the way it was written, I didn't want to go down the path of just talking about specs. I think with specs, it's something that you can get off the internet or on the paper afterwards. But I really wanted to make it personal and that people could relate to what I was talking about, and working with the team and having that trust to be able to formulate your own ideas and make it what it was.
I'm really glad to hear you say that, because even with my review videos, Michael, yes, you can get the specs anywhere. Anyone can do a video on that, but I like to show what the product can do.
Exactly.
And I think that is absolutely critical, isn't it? And I noticed that in a lot of your marketing, as we move to what you now push out to the public, is showing what the phone can do. And I know everyone engages celebrities, but there's some genuine sort of responses in some of the videos you have.
Yeah, definitely. When we're looking at the way, my marketing team here, just talking about that leadership skill again. Well, my marketing team were all interns at the start of this journey into Oppo, and they've come on board to be marketing people, to be like lead designers, and they continue to grow. And I always
that's promoting from within sort of philosophy, isn't it?
100%. I'm always looking at ways of how can we promote from within? How can I give someone this opportunity to continue to grow? And with myself, as you mentioned, I have a global role. I've even seconded people into other markets because I can see opportunity for them to grow, and I want them to continue to grow. It's no different from someone at Oppo giving me an opportunity to grow. As a leader, it's always about pushing your staff and making them also feel uncomfortable, because once you feel uncomfortable, that's when you learn and you really become better at what you do. And yeah, like with the marketing in Australia, I always tell my team, they are also consumers. They also need to trial things, test things. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, Jerome, we don't get things right all the time. But the fact that they're trying is all that I can ask for, and that they learn from it. Because at the end of the day, what are we doing? We're just selling phones, not really saving lives. And that's what I tell my team.
Although they can if you need to call emergency services. There's a lot of tech happening there. But you raised it, again there, the leadership. What sort of leader do you see yourself as,
looking at my career path and my leadership skills, women have always been such an important part of my life, from my mother to my friends. And even when I started my career, I just had a lot of women that were in leadership roles that taught me how to become a leader. And one of the things that I try to do with my team is really, if there's something wrong or something I think isn't right, is explain to them my point of view and the reasons why, and we work on it together. And as a leader, I think the skill that I have is leading by example. I try to understand every facet of the business. I try to do their roles as well, to be honest. Like with the engineers, like at the start you were asking me how do I build rapport and how do I work with them. It's about understanding and trying to think like them and put myself in their shoes so that I can lead by example. I think that's so important.
And it's also about, engineers are great, but sometimes they just can't get their message out. You'll see all these lines of code and they go, why can't you understand these people?
Yeah.
And it's your job to make sense of what they're doing and put it in simple terms that the public can understand, because yes, you're going to have sophisticated users, but they're going to be some users out there just like, that's a phone, I just want it to work. Oh, look, it does this amazing zoom, and all this other stuff.
I think it's just rolling up your sleeves and just doing it and learning from it. Like you're going to make mistakes, but every mistake you make, you're going to learn from something so next time that you don't make those mistakes again. And also just being humble. I think it's really important just to be human. And my team know that though I have the title of MD and these global roles, I just am just like them. I don't want them to think that because, don't get me wrong, at the end of the day, I have to make the hard decisions, but it's being able to be approached and speak to me at any time, message me if they have problems or they want to have a chat. It's just being approachable and listen and communicating. And don't get me wrong, I'm still learning every day on the best ways to work with people and just finding my balance.
I always say to people, and this is a funny story, I actually hadn't used an Oppo phone, but I looked at the specs. We were talking about specs before. When my nephew, triplet boys, they're now grown up, they're over 18, but when they were about 15 or so, they asked about phones. And I essentially said, look, kids, they want a selfie camera, and you guys have always been pushing the large selfie camera before everyone else.
That's right.
And so I suggested that. Those guys had those phones for 4 years.
Wow.
Now, for teenagers to have boys to have phones for 4 years like that, and they weren't expensive. Less than $500. I can't even remember which model it was. Michael, was so long ago. But they love those phones, and I said to them, look, they're the closest to an iPhone in the Android space, just in the look and feel and everything. So that really made an impact. Now, where I'm going with this is the rapport and the feedback from the Australian community. CanStar Awards, you won heaps of awards about your interaction with customer service. So you have had genuine positive feedback when it's very easy to be negative in this business to big tech businesses. How much has that helped you drive you forward? Because you can easily get carried away with the praise and not advance. If you know what I mean.
I definitely understand what you're saying, and I think being connected to the customer is so important. Even for myself, I will sometimes answer customer inquiries on Facebook or look at emails and respond. It's so important that, and I have an alias, so I'm not going to tell you what my alias is.
What is it? Come on.
But it's really important for me to stay grounded and to hear what our consumers are saying. I read forums. I reach out to you guys as well, and my friends and family are also users of Oppo, so I always want to hear feedback. And I think if we don't receive that feedback, then how are we supposed to move forward into the future and know what products to bring into the market? How do I continue to grow this business? So for myself, it's so important to be connected with the customer. I even do store visits, to be honest. I go into stores to our retail partners, ask questions, find out about our competitors, what are the pain points from consumers, what are they looking for, and then I take that and I feed it back to our global team, and then I tell them these are some of the things that we should try to work on, or we should try and get there in the next few years. Do we have any plans towards that? And even in my own local team, even though sometimes from a global perspective we may not be there yet, because we're always developing new technology and we only want to release technology when we think it's ready. I talk to my team here and how do we create content to connect with consumers. I would say that during COVID-19, it's just been so challenging, and with my sales team not being able to do store visits, I actually asked them to film video content at home and share it on the social media pages of our channels so that we can still remain connected with our customers.
So it's been a big year this year with COVID, as you mentioned. Obviously, there's the geopolitical issues as well. And it's also about people, because of COVID, looking internally, trying to make their own things. Now, when I went to see the Oppo factory, as compared to some others, you pretty much let us see everything, and others wouldn't let us do that. You actually let us shoot that stuff.
Yep.
So I found there was a bit of, I don't know if it's a bravery on your part or just being a bit too loose and letting international media see what goes on. But I will say I've got to give Oppo a rap in this regard. I keep giving you raps, mate. I've got to stop this. But but the thing is that we got to see that stuff. Now, how much does secrecy play a part in the business, and how much does transparency play? Do you balance? You got to balance that up, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Even with our announcement of that AirVook a few days ago, I've seen that technology 2 years ago, and we're continuing to work on technology and advance, and there needs to be a level of secrecy. But the one thing that I would say is that we also want to, let media and consumers see who Oppo really is, and what we do. If we start hiding things, then what are we afraid of sharing with you guys? We try to be as transparent as possible. We are a business at the end of the day, and we do need to make sure that the things that we shared don't impact our business. But what I would say is that for myself, and your question before, the way I approach media, even interact behind the camera and in front of it just needs to be genuine and be honest. Yeah.
Let's talk about some of your products, because
Sure.
some of the most amazing things I've seen is the battery stuff. Now, I'm a big fan of what you've done with Superbook, and we've spoken about this before, and batteries to me are the big thing. It'd be interesting to see if you put all that new battery power into an older screen, how many days worth of use you'd get, but I understand what everyone's doing there. Let's talk about Superbook, and it's Superbook, isn't it? And the other thing too, it is Oppo, it's not Oppo.
Yeah, it's Oppo.
So I've been leading the charge there, and I often do that because in broadcasting, I think it's your responsibility.
Thank you, Jero.
But when I saw a couple of years ago, and I was trying to probe in that big roundtable meeting we went to China a couple of years ago, what's happening in your wireless charging, and they sort of didn't want to let too much out of the bag. But just talk us about the specs you are now doing with the latest announcement only this week on your fast charging technology. And I've got to say it's pretty good. And the other thing I've got to say, is it safe?
Yeah, I would say that just to talk about VOOC and where it came from in Superbook, even for myself, when I first saw it and I announced it at MWC a few years ago, I had to ask the engineers to show me and really show me how it worked, explained everything to me. And then today, fast forward today, we've announced Superbook with 125 watt charging. And yes, is it safe? Yeah, 100%. We've got 145 million users already around the world using our VOOC technology. And today, or this week, we announced our next generation of charging capabilities. It's looking at bi-cell charging technology. It is very safe, and I actually can't wait for consumers to get their hands on it and just really try it. We can charge from the demonstration this week. You can charge a phone from 0 to 100% in 20 minutes, and that's a 4,000 milliamp battery. On top of that, we've got our wireless charging air VOOC that can charge a full battery within 30 minutes, and then we've got miniature chargers as well. So very exciting times, and can't wait for the public to get their hands on them.
So will the charging work on the current models?
Oh yeah, the charging will work on the current models, but probably not at that speed, just because of the chip set inside it. But it definitely will still charge it to the levels of VOOC depending on the models that you're using and capability.
Yeah, so upwards over 125 watts. It's going to be working on the new phones that come out.
Yes, correct.
So that is up there with laptops. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's looking at the battery and charging, as you know already, 5G is such a big thing in the Australian market, and we know that with 5G you're going to be consuming more content, and while you're consuming more content, your battery is going to be you're going to be using more battery life. So having this VOOC and fast charging technology is just ensuring that you never need to worry about battery not having enough battery to do what you need to do.
I don't think there's anyone that comes close to what you're doing, but what and it's amazing stuff. But one of the things is the wireless capability. So it was sort of left on the back burner a little bit, but now you're going hard on it. So I can still get this fast charging on wirelessly as well. Yeah,
definitely. With the AirVOOC, we've got AirVOOC which can charge a battery from 0 to 100% within 30 minutes. It's fully safe and something that we've been testing, and we have over 2,800 patents in this area of R&D and technology. So we're always looking at what else can we be bringing to consumers, and when the time is ready.
And I think in these times it pays for many businesses to diversify, and I've seen that happen because of COVID-19. Could you see a day when Oppo is producing batteries for other uses, that would be for uses in remote facilities that aren't phones but other things?
Anything is possible with Oppo. For us as a business, we always looking at the future. And as you mentioned, diversifying our products. We started our history in our business. We started out making Blu-ray players.
Yes, and they're much
MP3.
loved. Please bring them back.
Yeah. So, that area of music has always been part of our DNA. Then we moved into smartphones, and then now we're looking into wearables, IoT. We made mention of our CPE product earlier this year at MWC when I made the speech. And we've got many other products down the line that we'll be announcing when the time is right.
Michael, I want you to keep your honesty hat on here. I'm going to ask you about 5G.
Sure.
Where do you see we are at 5G? And do you, as a marketing guy, do you think some of the marketing has been a bit repetitive? I, for one, am a bit sick and tired of the same stuff about the future stuff about 5G. We get that. What can 5G do right now? And I know it's pretty much in its infancy in terms of rollout, but what do you think about 5G as a technology and where we are at the moment, and what do you think of the marketing?
I think 5G is a very exciting time for the business, for our industry in Australia. You are right. Like at the moment, when you think of 5G, what do you think of? You think about speed, low latency, and they're the current use cases that we have. What 5G can bring in terms of being able to control your home, products in businesses from the palm of your hand, those are things that will come in the future, but we need people to start developing and working on those ideas and use cases and bring them to life. 5G is going to be one of those things where we're always going to be moving forward, and it's just dependent on people bringing these ideas to life and having a go at it.
Well, that's right, because the real change is going to happen when we go to the high band. The mid-band's around at the moment. It's okay, but we need that higher frequency, but that's challenging. And the great thing is that Telstra's really leading the way globally in this.
Definitely.
And I commend them for that. How closely do you work with the telcos like Telstra on the 5G?
We're working with them really closely. We want to make sure that our products that we bring to the market with all the network providers are working. For that, we're working with the RAN vendors as well, ensuring that it works, and the chipset providers like Qualcomm has been such a huge support to our business in leading the way in 5G, especially when we launched the Reno 5G last year in June, working, and as I mentioned earlier during this interview, my learning and understanding of 5G and what the capabilities were so amazing with my engineers. And they painted a picture of what 5G could do, and working with the carriers as well, understanding where the industry was going. It's just a really exciting time for us, and I believe that in the next few years we'll see more exciting things coming out of 5G.
Absolutely. I'm just sick of the future gazing. I just
you want it now.
We should, yeah. Well, I just think we have to be honest as a business and industry with people that say that's years off. Like, we've only just started millimeter wave testing. So this is, I think the business industries, I know they're trying to get people juiced up about it, Michael, but I think we just have to be honest with people about what 5G can deliver right now. And I've got 5G home broadband here with Optus. It's fantastic. It means I don't need the NBN. And I haven't got the NBN anyway. So I've one-upped them. So that's where 5G at this level, and I guess down the track, 5G is just going to be everything. Like, it doesn't matter if it's high band or mid band or whatever. It's just going to be labelled as 5G, isn't it?
It will be. And then that's no different when we move to 6G. There's going to be more use cases. People are going to wonder what 6G can do. And
don't start off 6G.
With us as a business, we're working with the likes of 3GPP to look at the standards and understand what is that standard that we want consumers to benefit from. It's an evolving space.
Other products, earbuds. And I think you've got, what earbuds are you using today?
So I am using the Oppo earbuds. I don't even think we've announced them yet.
Oh, really? Okay. So you've got Oppo earbuds on.
I've got Oppo earbuds on, which I'm trialing out at the moment, that I haven't announced, but I love them. We are moving into other products such as headphones. We've got the Oppo Watch as well, which we've made an announcement about. And we'll be...
Yeah, it looks really good.
Out. Yeah, I've been testing it in the office. My team are wearing it, trialing it out. To be honest, I love it. I think that with this the Oppo watch, and having Google Wear on it as well, been working with the Google team on the Oppo watch has been really a fun experience. And we're just looking at the marketing at the moment and figuring out how to market this product. There's so many competitors out in this landscape, and we want to position it right.
Battery life is important for watches.
Yeah.
I've got an Apple Watch on here, and it's great. I think it's the best in the market, but the battery life is just not good enough in terms of getting sleep data. And we know sleep data is really important. You've got the battery technology, Michael.
We do.
You guys are in the position to do something about getting a really high-functioning watch, not a simplified watch, but a high-functioning one that tracks all your health data 24/7.
Yeah, and we've got the VOOC as well incorporated into the watch, so then you don't have to worry about that. And also our Oppo watch has 2 chipsets in it, so you have that fully functional watch that you need where it can be active. And then further to that, if you just need it to be on standby, it can last up to 20 days or so, just as a normal watch. So looking at the pain points for consumers, we want to try and make our watch as simple and easy to use for them.
Michael, a couple of last questions here. Realme's entered the market, and obviously they look like little Oppo phones, versions of Oppo phones. Where do they sit in relation to your business? Because obviously they're using the same technology.
Yeah, Oppo and Realme are separate, totally independent. We don't share business ideas or contact. There may be a level of sharing, licensing agreements that are different from a lot of other companies. But for us as a business, we treat it very separate.
What about your commitment to Australia as a company? Is it long term? Is it growing? What can you tell us about Oppo and Australia?
I would say that it is going to be long term. We're working with our retail partners. I'm looking at hiring more staff, local staff, to join the team, and even looking for a new office at the moment, a bigger office for the team. And we're committed to the market. We know that we have amazing products, and I really want Australian consumers to really get their hands on it, see us as an amazing brand, and enjoy everything that we have to bring.
And price points. Obviously,
correct.
you've had some good cheaper phones, but you've also now throwing out some more expensive devices. Is it important to have a range there for people? And
Definitely.
Should people have a right to get a phone that's not just a piece of rubbish for a couple $100?
They have the choice of selecting the phone that's right for them, from those people that want that latest, greatest tech to those people who just want an easy phone that they can use for day to day. Bringing more products into the market gives consumers more choice, and that's what we're looking at doing.
Michael, it's great to talk to you. How do you feel about just chatting openly and normally to people in a forum like this? Because I think we just don't hear enough of that.
No, I think that this chat has been amazing, Jero. I've never had an interview like this, so really thank you. And I really appreciate your approach to it as well. It was very... I know, it felt very humanized.
Great. Well, make sure you share it then.
I will.
There he is, joining us from Oppo, Michael Tran. That is Conversation Bytes for this week. We'll have another great guest next week on Conversation Bytes. See you soon.